Hello, boys and girls at Mill Creek Intermediate. Glad to be with you today. I'm going to be reading a book entitled Santa is Coming to West Virginia, written by Steve Smallman. Are you ready? Well, have all the children from West Virginia been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he hustled across the workshop to my desk. Looking down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of West Virginia had sent me, mostly, asked Santa. Mostly? Yeah, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good. Then we better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have trouble loading it onto Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed it to fit that big sack into their little sleigh, even they didn't know how somehow they did it. Splendid. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? The youngest one, said the elf. It's the first flight tonight. I've called him and called him, but just then a young reindeer strolled up munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? But the youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little elf calling. Oh well, never mind. Giving the reindeer a little wink, he took out my Santa GPS, tapped in the coordinates to West Virginia. This will guide us to West Virginia in no time. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 ho! Well, soon after the presents were delivered to the mountain state. We'll soon get them there. My sleigh flew through the starry night, heading south across to the Arctic Ocean. On they flew. Wintry air crossing over Canada. In the wink of an eye, my sleigh was flying above the Great Lakes and over the Ohio. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. They had just crossed the Ohio River when suddenly they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes whirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but I didn't seem concerned. In 2 miles, said the Santa GPS in a bossy lady's voice, keep left at the next star. But ma'am, I blustered, I can't see any stars in the snow. Soon we're going to be helplessly lost. Then through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing. Ding dong. He looked over at the old reindeer, the red nose, but he had his head down. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at me, but I wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with the little box with the buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and he headed off towards the sound of the bells, pulling me and my sleigh behind him. Whoa! Pulled on the reins to stop him. What's going on? Then, to my surprise, he heard the ringing sound. Well done, young reindeer, he shouted carefully. It must be the Sacred Heart Co-Cathedral in Charleston. Don't worry, Santa's here. Then suddenly, crunch, the sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the snow clouds. You have arrived, said the Santa GPS unhelpfully. Finally, when the snow had died down and the clouds parted, I discovered exactly where we were. Stuck right at the very top of the Christmas tree near the West Virginia Capitol Complex. Everybody pull! The reindeer pulled with all their might until at last, with a searching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the Christmas tree and Santa steered them safely over the Clay Center and the Kanawha Public Library, along the Kanawha River, past South Charleston, above Dunbar, and down into Shawnee Park. Luckily, there was no damage done to the packages, had all been jumbled up, so I had to quickly sort them out again and put the presents back in order. All right, I said, thanks to this youngest reindeer, I know where we are. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming. So I drove the sleigh expectantly from rooftop to rooftop all over West Virginia, popping in and out of chimneys and as fast as we could go. There were big chimneys in Clarksburg, small chimneys in Beckley. I squeezed down thin chimneys in Weirton and plummeted fat chimneys in Parkersburg. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to tire at all, and it looked like the children in West Virginia were going to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel quite weary and quite hungry too. In house after house, I delivered inside the sack packages of every shape and size. I piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully filled the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of West Virginia left me out a large plate of cookies, a small glass of milk, and big crunchy carrot. I took a little bite out of each cookie, a tiny sip of milk, wiped my beard, and popped the carrots into my sack. From Huntington to Morgantown, from Martinsburg to Inwood to Bunker Hill to Wheeling, all the places in between, me and my sleigh visited every house in West Virginia. I delivered presents to Andrew, Allison, Anna, Arabella, Archie, Ashley. The list went on, Zach and Zara and Zeb and Zoe and Zybel. Finally, I had delivered the last present on my West Virginia list. Great moons of stars! It's past midnight and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. I popped open my sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. I divided the carrots among all the reindeer. Well done, he said, putting the youngest reindeer gently patting him on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. I reset my Santa GPS once more for the North Pole. And soon we were speeding along New River Gorge, over Babbitt State Park, past Harper's Ferry, and right along the East Coast through the crispy, starry night. Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas, West Virginia!